Good afternoon, everyone. Greetings to all. Okay, and this is for giving a session regarding gate preparation training. And for gate examinations, you know very well different subjects, especially if you choose computer science and engineering, almost all the core subjects are covered during gate examinations. So the major programs or topics, otherwise subjects, we can call them subjects covered in gate examinations are programming and data structures, usually from C language, operating systems, compiler design, digital logics, mathematics, and computer networks, design and analysis of algorithms, theory of computations, computer networks. So these are all the core subjects which all the examinations, entrance examinations or grade checking examinations or gate examination, whatever it may be, the general examinations all are focusing on the fundamental subjects of computer science, whatever I have listed. Okay, so this session is particularly going to speak about programming and data structure using C. And next 1 hour, we are going to see what are all the fundamental programming structures in C. Okay, and you know what is data structure and all, and how to implement a data structure concept using C. Already everything you would have studied or you would have not studied, whatever it may be, no issues. And this session is going to be a refreshing session for those who already know the topics, and for those who don't know C language, it will be a learning session. That's it. Okay, so today's topic is fundamental programming structures in C. So the objectives in this session, what are we going to study is, we are going to understand the basic structure of a C language, and we are going to write a first C program, and what are all the building blocks of a C program. If you want to write a program, what are all the building blocks, all the things we are going to discuss. Okay, first, what is C? What is C? C is a name of the language. So what is C? C is a structured programming language. What is that structured programming language? Then do we have any other types of programming language? Yes, of course, we have types of programming languages. Do you know that? Do you remember what are all the types of programming languages? Yes or no? If anyone wants to answer, you can answer.
Yes, ma'am.
What are all the programming languages we know? Generally, the programming languages can be
Procedural,
classified into three.
procedural,
What are
and object oriented.
procedural? Excellent,
Procedural
very good.
and object oriented.
Very good, very good. But both are, see, programming paradigms. We call them as a program. But before paradigms, we have common types of languages or programming language. No, மொத்தம் 3 type இருக்கு. We have 3 varieties. What are they? Shall I give you one hint?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Very, very old the first language to feed instruction to a computer?
Machine
It will
level
be in the
language.
form of very good machine language. It will be in the form of 0 and 1. Okay. And the advancement
Once.
of machine language,
Assembly.
yes.
Assembly language.
Assembly, excellent, excellent. What is the advantage of assembly over machine language? Any idea? What is the difficulty in machine language? Okay, I ask you a question. How many of you know the IP address of Gmail server? Everybody is using WhatsApp. We say WhatsApp or Gmail we take. How many of you know the IP address of Gmail server? Without IP, we cannot access any content or resource over the internet, right? How many of you know the IP address of your Gmail server? What are you accessing? Anybody remember? Even I don't remember. I don't know the IP address. Why? The IP addresses are written in the form of.
Complex to remember.
Very good, excellent. Complex to remember. How can I remember many? I have plenty of resources available on the internet. How can I remember the IP address of every resource? It's very difficult. So instead of IP address, if it is given a aliasing name, that is very easy for me to remember. Similarly, writing instructions in the form of 0 and 1 is very tedious for a programmer. Okay, for simple arithmetic addition, you have to write plenty of codes with zeros and ones. It was really tough to get a single line of code completed by your processor. So the inventors think thought that we have to give a language which is easier for understanding as well as easier for writing. The next invention of machine language is assembly language. In assembly language, the zeros and ones have been converted into mnemonics. Okay, so if you want to perform addition, simply you issue a instruction add. How many numbers you are going to add? Two numbers? Very good. Write add space number 1 comma number 2. So this way instructions have been converted from machine to assembly mnemonics. So the instructions programs written using mnemonic codes are called to be assembly language. Very good. Next, what is the difficulty in assembly language? Then why do we shift into third level of language called high level language? Yes, any idea? Why do we go from assembly to high level language? என்னப்பா டிஃப்ரென்ஸு எதுக்காக நம்ம ஹை லெவல் லாங்குவேஜ் போகிறோம்? ஒரு சின்ன எக்ஸாம்பிள் சொல்கிறேன். இன் வாட்ஸ்அப் யூ வாண்ட் டு அட்டாச் அ காண்டாக்ட், கரெக்டா? In older mobile phones and all, we don't have that attaching contact facility and all. If I want to add number, for example 10 people's number I want share to my friend. So in older mobiles, what we do is we have to write the name, then followed by the number. We have to type it one by one. But what is the facility improved now? Just attach button, every contact, whatever you want, you select it, it will be attached and sent. Very simple, simplicity. So similarly, high level language have been designed for the purpose of programmer to reduce the manpower or time for writing instructions. ஒரு ப்ரோக்ராம் எழுதுறதுக்கு எனக்கு 10 minutes ஆகுது எதுல assembly languageல. In case of high level language I can finish it off in 1 minute if it in case of 10 instructions. So high level language helps the programmer to write the instructions in their own way of normal literal English. Okay, so C is a kind of high level language. And one more property we add to C. What is that is? It's a structured programming language. What do you mean by structured programming language? Then why it is called a structured? In machine language, all the instructions are written one after another. In assembly language, the same. Write the instructions one after another. Whereas in high level language, exclusively in structured languages, the programming instructions can be grouped and put into a module or routines or procedures. So it will reduce the complexity of writing program and maintaining the program. That's why programming languages which follow use the modules are called to be structured programming language. C is a kind of structured programming language. Okay, who will use C? The person who wants to concentrate on problem definition. I want to write an application for solving a particular task. That is the only thing in my mind. Okay. I don't want to rely on underlying machine. I don't want to bother about the underlying machine platform. I don't want it. How the hardware is running, how the hardware is going to support my program. That and all I don't want to bother. So those programmers will prefer C. Okay. And one more thing is, I want to write an application which is capable of running in many different applications or hardware platforms. So if I want to write applications with this, with these reasons or specific requirements, I can choose C language. Okay. Then, how will you write a C program? If you take any programming language, okay, if you take any programming language, every programming language will define its own structure. For C program, we have or we are going to follow this structure. So what is the structure? It contains 4 sections. First section, pre-processor directives. Second, global declaration. Third part, your actual code is placed in this. We call it as a main function or main module. And later on, you can add your required modules. Group the programs into modules. Everything will go down the main module. Okay. Then what is a preprocessor directive? Simple. If I want to take a main picture, just do the preparation works. It will not be in the live, but after doing the main picture, the predefined works have been attached into the main picture. Similarly, preprocessor directives will allow additional actions into the program. Okay, you no need to define the existing works. The existing works are already defined somewhere. You just attach them into your program. You indicate that action with the help of preprocessor directives. Examples you already know: ash define, ash if, ash include, hash forward. These are all the preprocessor directive indicates the additional actions to be done on the program. Next, global declarations. This program may be used by many people with many modules. So some data I want to keep common for all the modules. Those declarations can be given in the global declarations. And next part, main part. The actual picture come here. The screenplay, all the things will come in the main module. What task I want to perform, that should be written in the main module, and it is the starting point of your program execution. And finally, other functions required. The main module may require some other functionalities also. Everything will be incorporated in the main itself, but the program becomes more lengthy and difficult to maintenance. Debugging becomes very complex. So to avoid it, I further divide my operations into different modules. So those different modules will come under in the fourth section. Okay. And next, so this is our first C program. It's already you know. Okay. So in this program, how many lines we have? Ash include, int main within bracket void, printf return 0. So totally only we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lines. Okay. Hope you understand all the 6 lines. First line, Nanapa, what is the use of first line? Ash include stdio.h. What is it? What is it?
It's a preprocessor directive, ma'am.
Very good. Why do we include it?
To interact
This
with
is
input and output devices.
very good. Input and output devices. Even though they are after all in hardware, they will have a software component. We call them as a direct drivers, driver softwares. The driver softwares only will control the hardware functionalities. Correct? Every hardware component will have its own driver software. Okay, ba? So in order to interact, your program should interact with the IO devices. So we need IO functions. Those IO functions are available in the stdio.h header files. We have to bring that header file into my program for preprocessor directive ash include. And I want to simply hello world. So hello world printing, now we need to interact with the monitor. So to interact with the monitor, we have an output function called printf. Okay. And the printf, this is a task to be performed. The task to be performed should be included in the main. Okay, ma. That's why we are having main function. Your program will start its execution from the main. Okay, and main is a keyword. In the left hand side of main, we have a keyword. Call it as data type. For functions, we don't call them as a data type. It is a return type. And main followed by the bracket. Within the bracket, we call them as a parameters. Okay. Parameters may be any parameter or it may be nothing. To indicate nothing is passed, we can use void. Nothing is passed. Okay. And printf is a output statement that will be interacting with the monitor. Print something, whatever you give. And return is, since the return type integer is mentioned in the main, we have to return over the control of execution back to the starting point. That's why we go with the integer return type. Simple greeting program. Okay. And next. The explanation is given over here. Whatever we have seen for last programs, we have given here. And in this program, we are giving one main concept here. For introducing one concept, this program is modified little bit. What is that? The last Hello World program is rewritten to show you the important element of your program. What is that? What is the element? Can anyone say? Last program.
Comments.
Very good, excellent, excellent. Very important entity of a program is comments. Without comments, a program is totally not at all understandable by anyone, even though for a programmer. If I am a writer of the program, I cannot remember everything. So I will write the description about what I have done through program. Everything will be written in the comments. And what is how the comments are processed? Will it be executed? Will it be executed?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Very good.
No, ma'am.
Then what is the role of comments then?
For understanding of the user.
Very good, very good. For better understanding of the program, we are including it. Okay, it cannot be executed, Abhina. Then why it is not executed? Whatever statement in the program that should be executed. Correct? It won't be executed. How? Yeah, why? There is a reason in that.
Slash, ma'am.
Yes, the slash indicates that these statements are not executable statements. It is intimated to whom? We are putting some
Compiler.
sentences for we are intimating to the compiler that no need to convert these lines into what code? What code?
Machine code.
This object code. Okay, we call them as an object code. Exactly, mission code, zeros and ones. So these are all written in the high level language in normal English. The compiler will take this program and convert into object code. So by using the command, we are telling the compiler, please don't put effort in converting these statements into object code. This is only for descriptive purpose. That's why we use double slash for single lines, and the slash followed by asterisk is for multi lines. Okay, very good. You remember everything and have better understanding. Okay, example for block comments, and this is the example for line comment. This already you know. The last example itself it's shown. And next important element. So in a program, we are discussing about the important elements of a program. The first element is over. Comments is over. Second element is very important, identifiers. So what is identifier? I give you an example. Integer A. This is the statement, just assume. Here, which one is identifier? Int, int,
Yeah,
space
ma'am.
A is an identifier. Then what about int?
Data
Data
type.
type,
Data
ma'am.
type, ma'am.
Data type. So what are, whether int space A collectively called as identifier or int space A ரெண்டுமே சேர்த்து வச்சு நம்ம ஐடென்டிஃபயர்னு சொல்லுவோமா இல்ல A மட்டும் தான் ஐடென்டிஃபயரா?
A மட்டும், ma'am.
Very good. Why? What is the literal meaning of identifier? I need to identify something in my program. Correcta? It may be, the identifier may be a variable name, function name, module name, or preprocessor directive name, whatever it may be. So in my program, I want to identify some components. For that, I go with the name it. Okay, those names are called to be identifiers. Identifiers allow us to name data and other objects in the program. Okay, each identified object in the computer is stored at a unique address that we already know. Correct. If anything is named, it will be referenced in the memory that we already know. So, what are the rules and regulations to be followed for identifier? இதெல்லாம் already we know. Correct? These rules and regulations are common for all the programming language. First character, alphabetic character or underscore. This is the only special character allowed in naming the identifier. First character must be alphabetic character, must contain only of alphabetic character, digits or underscore. Okay, it should start with the alphabetic. It may be the combination of digits and underscore. 63 characters are significant. After 64, I mean 63 characters, it may be cross-referential, no issues. Cannot duplicate a keyword. That is, we cannot use keyword as a identifier. Okay. So highlighting rules of identifier is identifier must start with a letter or a underscore. It may not have a space or hyphens. Hyphens allowed கிடையாது. Space allowed கிடையாது. Underscore இருக்கலாம். No problem. Okay. And one more important thing, programming language whichever is case sensitive, whichever is not case sensitive, that's very very important. Okay, C is a case sensitive language. Ma'am, how to identify, ma'am, if a programming language is given, I want to predict whether it can be case sensitive or in case sensitive. எப்படி மேம் நான் கண்டுபிடிக்கலாம் அப்படின்னு கேட்டா simple. All the languages which are compiled and interpreted will be definitely case sensitive. Understand? All the programming languages which are of both compiled and interpreted will be definitely a case sensitive. The languages which are not compiled but interpreted, okay, through browsers are case insensitive languages. Okay. Next, this is the valid names and invalid names. Some examples for identifiers. Okay. இதுல, if you have any doubts, do you have any doubts in that? Yes?
No, ma'am.
No doubts. Next, types. What is the type? Why do we go for type? ஏன் type போறோம்ப்பா? ஐடென்டிஃபையர் சொல்லிட்டோம். ஐடென்டிஃபையர் என்ன டைப்ல வேணும், என்ன வேல்யூ ஸ்டோர் பண்ணணும்ன்றத எது வழியா சொல்வோம் நம்ம?
Data type.
Very good. Data type. I want to reserve a memory. I want to store a value. For that, I need to reserve a memory. How much memory I should reserve? That will be decided through data types. A type defines a set of values and set of operations. And data type, one more thing it will instruct, that is given here. A data type defines the type of value, set of values, and set of operations. What do you mean by set of operations? If it is integer a equal to 10, what are all the possible operations allowed on integer variable? All the arithmetic operations, all logical operations, all bitwise operations are permitted on it. Okay. So for the respective data types, a certain set of operations are already defined. We cannot mismatch the operations on the data types. Then this is a formal chart. Already we have discussed in many programming languages. So these are the C types. Most common types are integral and floating, integer and floating point variables. And apart from these two major, we have void and derived. So void it's nothing, nothing. It indicates nothing. And derived na we go with array, stack, queue, structure, union. These are all the derived data types. And Boolean, character, integer will be coming under integral, real, imaginary, complex. Floating point numbers are represented using real, imaginary, complex. Okay. And what about character? We have two varieties, subdivision under character. Char and W char. What do you mean by W char? Wide character. Okay, will store large amount of character string. And for integer, we have in shortened, long int, long int. Okay. And what about the size requirements? Size of short is less than size of int. For example, integer takes 2 bytes in C language. Short will take 1 byte in storage. And long will take 4 bytes. Long will take 8 bytes. So all the data types are differentiated with respect to the storing capacity only. So these are all few data types with respect to integer and their byte size and minimum value, maximum value. These minimum and maximum values are represented with respect to memory, and it will not take exactly the same numbers memory. Depending upon the architecture, it may go with these ranges. அவ்வளவுதான். ஓகேவா? int shortened sorry, நான் எக்ஸாம்பிள் வந்து 1 byte சொல்லியிருந்தேன். Shortened will take 2 bytes, integer 4 bytes, integer 4 bytes, long int 4 bytes, long 8 bytes. Okay. And again float, double, long double. So the same thing, it will vary as per the sizes. So this is the floating point table, real, imaginary, complex. Okay. And variables, what do you mean by variable? Why do we go for variable? Variables are named memory locations. I have a value. The value is stored in the memory. How to refer the memory location? For that, I go with the variable name. So variable names are nothing but the name in the storage. That's it. Okay. And we must give the type of the variable name with the help of data type. So sample example, char code. So in char code, char represents the variable type and code is the identifier. So in other words, I can say variables in programming languages is represented with the help of or combination of variable type and variable identifier. Okay. For all the data types, variable names, identifiers are possible. Okay. And some things are given over here. Okay. Bool, fact. Boolean is also one of the data type. Short, long, float, double, char, int. What is the difference between character and string? Character and string.
Character is used to represent a single character.
Whereas string is for double quotes, will be represented using double quotes. Okay, wow. And one more thing, while declaring a variable, if you give a variable name, it must be initialized with the value. Okay. The initialization can be done at two place, during the declaration or after the declaration. It depends upon the programming model and programmer. Okay, and this is a simple sample program for printing the sum of three numbers. Simple program we have to taken. Ash include as stdio.h is a preprocessor directive. As I said, main is a main function where our task is written in the form of programming code, and inside that we need to declare the required variable identifiers to handle the operation. So declarations two types இருக்கு. One is a local declaration, other is a global declaration. Local declaration is nothing but any variable declared and defined inside particular function or block are called to be local declaration, whereas global are any variables or identifiers which are declared and defined outside of the main module are called to be global. Local are valid till the block, they are alive till the block, whereas global are alive throughout the entire program. Local will be dead once the block is over. Global will be dead once the program exits and it's externally cleared using the free call, free memory call போட்டு clear பண்ற வரைக்கும் அதோட லைஃப் டைம் இருக்கும். These are few differences between local and global. And here for this task I have to compute the sum of three numbers. So these three numbers are required only in this module. It cannot be used in some other module. So that's why it is made local. So if I want to represent three numbers, I need three variables. You decide. Here it is given as three numbers. They haven't mentioned any type. So you choose your own preferred data type. We go with integer data type. So I need the sum of three numbers, right? So declare a variable, create an identifier for three numbers with the data type integer. And to store the result, go with one more variable and you put in your favorite fancy name. We give sum over here. Okay, and is it mandatory to give sum as a variable? Not required. Depends upon the programmer. If the result is required in further steps of program, you store the result by having a separate variable. If the result is not required at any place, don't waste the memory. Just add directly, that is inline in the output statement and print it directly. Okay. And one more important thing while writing informations into the monitor or output in the monitor, we go with printf statement. It's an output statement. For reading, we use scanf statement. Okay. Control strings are very important to format the output as well as inputs. So control strings will always start by the percentage symbol followed by the indicator of the data type. Okay, percentage D represents integer data type, percentage F indicates the floating data type, percentage C represents a character. So many depending upon the data type, the indicator after the percentage symbol will vary. Okay, and you give a fancy output with the help of printout statement whatever you want. But our task here is get three numbers, add it, store it in the variable sum and print using output statement. That is done in program line number 20, 23, 25. Okay, அவ்வளவுதான். த்ரீ டாஸ்க் தான் நமக்கு இங்க வேணும். ரீட் பண்ணு, சம் கால்குலேட் பண்ணு, பிரிண்ட் பண்ணு. So எப்படி நீங்க as well while you scan you use percentage formatting the string, right? Like formatted string. Similarly for printing also you have to use formatted string to indicate what kind of data you are looking for to print on the monitor. Okay. And constants are nothing but an integer values which are all permanent. Okay, permanent, and we cannot change meanwhile in the program. Constants are constants, we cannot change it. But likewise variable, it will have a type followed by variable name, identifier name, everything and all. Okay, that is constant. And this is the ASCII character and symbolic name. These are all the constants for printing special symbols in your program. Special symbols in your program. So /0 represents a null character. Most probably they are used in arrays and strings concept. Okay, alert. I am writing a hardware based program. Suppose I am writing an alarm using C language. I want to beep up once the time is reached. I can use /e. So simple a notification you are receiving on a desktop, right? A tick or ting, those thing can be given using alert. And backspace, I want to go one step ahead during runtime, then we can use backspace. Horizontal tab, if I click or press on the tab button, it has to move 5 spaces ahead. Okay, new line, I want to go with the next line. Vertical tab, horizontal tab and left to right. Vertical tab, from top to bottom it will take 5 lines. Form feed, I want to go to the next line starting point, that is form feed. Carriage written and form feed both are almost simple. And form feed, same form feed will go to the next line, first page the cursor, sorry, next line first character it will be blinking. Carriage almost both are same. Okay, single quote to indicate character, double quote to indicate strings, backslash for indicating any other special things. And this is value for integer constants, real constants. Default values may be ranging from plus 123 to minus 123 in case of integer. Okay, so the range of the constant integer values that is listed out in the table for integer, double and float. Okay, and this already we know uh, how to store a character and a string. That's what it is given here. And till this, we are we have discussed about the basic programming entities like comments, variables, constants, identifiers, and IO statements. So these are all the major entities of a program. So our task is just learn everything and make a understanding how to use them in framing a complete program or application. That is our task as a programmer, that is our task. Okay, and this is to indicate or use three ways to use a constant. எப்படிலாம் நம்ம கான்ஸ்டன்ட்டை யூஸ் பண்ணலாம், எங்கெல்லாம் வச்சு யூஸ் பண்ணலாம். Constants can be used in the preprocessor section. That is, it can be defined using preprocessor directive called as define. As define will let you know that this particular variable. Identifier is a constant. Your compiler will also understand and pre-process it before the execution of a program starts. Okay. So formal standard constant values can be defined using hash define. Okay. And int main குள்ள நீங்க எழுதிக்கோங்க what are all the constants others require. The same pi can be written using const keyword. Const is the keyword to indicate a constant. Okay. What is the difference between hash defined pi and const double pi? Simple. Hash defined pi can be used in any program because it's a preprocessor directive and it won't be counted in the execution part of your program. உங்களோட லிங்கிங்லயே வந்து அது டேலி ஆயிட்டு உங்களுக்கு உள்ள ஃபிக்ஸ் ஆயிடும். Whereas const, this is the special keyword to indicate a constant variable. It will require the memory. It will memory cost இருக்கும். Because every time you have to locate that memory place and you have to make it sure that it's a constant. User is not changing that location. That should be monitored every time. Okay. And printf, everything you know. So using const keyword or hash define, both the preprocessor directive and const keyword can be used for declaring a constant value. Okay. So that's all about the programming structures, fundamental structure of the programming language in C. And now few checkout questions. Okay, self-check questions. Whatever answers you know, you can share. Otherwise, in the next slide, the answer will be displayed also. Just have a try about your understanding. Okay. The number of tokens in the following C statement. What do you mean by token first? For answering this question, we need to understand the label token. Any idea about token? It's very, very important. We have compiler, right? C compiler. For a compiler, if it wants to convert your program into object code, it must understand token. Token na என்னன்னு தெரிஞ்சிருக்கணும். The programming statements should be divided into or classified into subsections. They have to be grouped into several categories for converting into object code. Tokens are nothing but the entities of a programming statement. Okay. What are all the entities we have? Identifier, keywords, special symbols. Okay, identifier, keywords, special symbol, functions, and opening and closing. அதெல்லாம் symbolsல உங்களுக்கு வந்துரும். ஓகேவா? So these are the entities describing a token. So இந்த questionக்கு உங்களுக்கு answer guess பண்ணுங்க. Can you able to guess? I tell you tokens may be identifier, keywords, then operators, then we have separating symbols and other symbols. So how many tokens we have? Can you have a guess? I told that it may be a keyword, identifier, operator, separating characters, special symbols. Yes. You start from the printf. Printfல இருந்து start பண்ணுங்க. Printf is a keyword. So number 1, first token. And second, we are opening a parenthesis. So it's a opening parenthesis symbol. So it is 2, number 2. That is second token. And third, we have a double quotes, right? We have a double quotes. That is a special symbol 3, token number 3. And token number 4, I is a variable identifier, correct? So it is fourth token. And equivalent, equal to is an operator. So it's a kind of operator assigning value in the from the right hand side to the left hand side. It's an assignment operator. So fifth token. And comma is a separation character. Sixth token. And ampersand I represents the memory reference. Okay, that is seventh token. Okay, then we have a equal to sign. Already it is counted into one of the token. So அதை நம்ம கணக்குல எடுத்துக்க கூடாது. Then closing double quotes. It's also already counted. So we cannot count it. Then I within double quotes, I equal to percentage D, comma, I ampersand I equal to percentage X. Both combinedly forms a string, that is eighth token. And percentage D and percentage X are called to be what? The control strings. Ninth token and 10th token is your semicolon. So totally we have 10 tokens. Okay. In a C source program, the basic elements recognized by the compiler are called to be tokens. So without these tokens, your compiler cannot recognize your code and convert into object code. ஸோ இதை வச்சு தான் இருக்குது கம்பைலர் டிசைன் அப்படின்னு ஒரு பேப்பரே இருக்குது. ஸோ யுவர் ப்ரோக்ராம் இஸ் கன்வெர்டட் ஃப்ரம் ஹை லெவல் டு ஆப்ஜெக்ட் கோட் by analyzing each and every character, and they will be divided into tokens, and based on the tokens only the object code will be generated. The memory addresses, references, everything will be taken. Okay. Totally there are 6 types of tokens: identifiers, keywords, constants, operators, string literals, and other separators. Okay. Next question. Aliasing in the context of programming language refers to, what do you mean by aliasing? It may be the options: multiple variables having the same memory location, multiple variables having the same value, multiple variables having the same identifier, multiple uses of the same. What it could be? Any guesses? Yes? Okay. Let's go for the solution. Answer A. Multiple variables having the same memory location. That is single memory location but referenced through different names are called to be aliasing. It is like we have single Gmail server with different aliasing. Okay. With different IP addresses with the replicas. அதே மாதிரி தான் aliasing. And third question is, what is the output of the following program? Ash include stdio.h. I have main. Inside the main, I have only the printout statement, printf statement with single slash. So whatever you put inside the double quotes, it will be printed on the screen. Okay. So what will be the output? Option A or option B, C, and D? What it could be?
A.
A?
Option
Sure?
A. A, ma'am.
Option A.
D, ma'am.
Isn't it? B? B? B or D?
D, ma'am. Compile error.
Why compiler error?
Void main not there.
Oh, you are dealing with the structure void. Is it mandatory to put void before main? Sure. Compiler error is the right answer, but why? Format string of
Return
printf
type.
is not terminated. No, da, no. See, in the previous 4 slides before, we have dealt with the constants, right? Slash followed by n, slash followed by r, slash followed by something indicates the constants, character constants. So in the printf statement, we are giving simply a slash, okay, backslash. So my compiler is expecting some character after the backslash. Okay, we call it as a format strings. So it is expecting for format string, but you haven't mentioned anything. That's why it is compiler error. Okay, bang. Cல நல்லா ஞாபகம் வச்சுக்கோங்க. பெர்சன்டேஜ் போட்டிங்கன்னா பக்கத்துல ஒரு கேரக்டர் ஸ்ட்ரிங் இருக்கணும். டியோ சியோ ஏதாவது இருக்கணும். Similarly, if you use backslash, immediately a character should follow. Percentage போட்டிருந்தா it's a control string and backslash போட்டா it's a format string. Your compiler will expect a single letter after the slash, but we haven't given anything. That's why it is compilation error. Okay. Next question. Compiler generates dash file from the high level language code. Executable code, object code, assembly code, none of the above. Assembly code not possible because we are writing in high level language. So a high level language to assembly code, till now modern compilers don't go with the assembly code conversation, the conversion போறது கிடையாது. Then it may be object code or executable code.
Executable code.
Executable code
Object
is
code, ma'am.
object code.
Object code, ma'am.
Okay, let us check. Excellent. Answer B. Object code is right one. Compilation is the process of translating high-level language statements into equivalent machine code, which is object code. Okay, not executable code. Executable code may be a third intermediate code also, like Java. In Java, we use bytecode, right? We are converting into bytecode. So bytecodes are not machine language code. It's an intermediate code. It requires an interpreter to convert into a object code, machine code. So in C, we don't use any intermediate code. Everything will be compiled directly into an executable machine code that is called as object code. C language is what? Context-free language, context-sensitive language, a regular language, parsable fully only by Turing machine. So these are all the things. See, context-free language, context-sensitive, regular language, Turing machine, very important part of compilation. Without this context-free languages and Turing machines, regular languages, we cannot write a compiler. The entire heart beat of a compiler resides on these thing only: context free language, regular language, Turing machine. Without these, no, none of the compiler can be written. Okay, so இதுல நமக்கு எது தெரியாதுன்னா எதுவுமே தெரியாது, ரைட்டா? If you would have thoroughly in TOC, then you can answer for this. I answer for this question. Answer B, context sensitive. So context sensitive in the sense, so what do you mean by context free and context sensitive now? In context free language, every operations will be written in the form of states. For example, int a. So first token int is a data type. If you read int, it has to move from one state to other state. And after the state, for example, state 1, your starting point. If you read int, it has to go to state 2. Then your compiler expects that it has to move to state 3. After state 2, it may be having multiple states. States 3, 4, 5, thing, any வேணாலும் இருக்கலாம். பட் அடுத்து 3க்கு தான் போகணும். ஏன்னா வேரியபிள் ரீட் பண்ணணும். அப்படிதான் ஒரு ரூல் வச்சிருந்தா such type of mechanism is called to be compiler design with the help of theory of computation. Okay, in context sensitive language, we don't bother about the state migration, but it's fully case sensitive language. Okay, after int it must be a variable. So it depends upon the context, how are you using the variable names and all. So it's C and C++, both are context sensitive languages. And finally, what does the following fragment of C program print? What will be the output of this code? This is somewhat challenging. I give you a clue. It deals with the indexes. It deals with the indexes. To answer this question, we must understand what is C followed by the square bracket and what is character star P. C and P we need to understand. And the assignment star P equal to C. அந்த அசைன்மெண்ட்டோடைய மீனிங் தெரிஞ்சாதான் இதுக்கு நம்ம ஆன்சர் பண்ண முடியும். சரி, I ask you. We have a character C. What is that C? It's an C is an
Array, ma'am.
array.
an
Array
array.
is very good. Array is loaded with what? What is the string? Gate 2011. Correct. There is a string loaded into the array. Then what is the array start and ending limit? Indexes. How many indexes
0.
we can access? 0 to
7.
0 to
1.
7.
0 to
N number.
7.
8 characters. So 0
Size
to
is not
7. 0 to 7. Correct. Then next line. Come to next line. Character star P equal to C. What it is? Star போட்டு ஒரு variable கொடுத்தா அதுக்கு என்ன பேர்?
Pointer.
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 Okay,
Pointer.
very
Pointer.
good. Why do we use pointers?
To find the
To
address.
store the address of the variable.
Address of variable. Variable. So here C is given. C is an array. Am I right? C is an array. Am I right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Then what address will be stored? I have 8 characters. Which character's address will be stored in C? We store the first character's address. We called it as a base address. And to access next characters, the G's address in gate, G's address will be the base address, and from G's address we are using offset values for accessing E in my gate 2011 string. If for example G is stored in 1000, for example the location number, and in order to access E I have to use the offset at which position is there? 1, 2, 3. So 1000 plus 3 will move you to the position of where E is stored. Okay. So C represents the address, base address of the string gate 2011, and that base address will be allocated to the pointer. Now in the printf statement we are using P plus P of 3 minus P of 1. What will be the addresses now? What is P of 3? 0, 1, 2, 3. That is E's address.
E, ma'am. E's
E's
address.
address. Minus P of 1
Minus
is A's address.
A.
Okay.
A, sir.
A. What is the ASCII difference between A and E? ASCII difference between A and E, because we are accessing the elements. So here P of 3, the ASCII value of E will be replaced. Here in P of 1, the ASCII value of A will be replaced. So the ASCII value of uppercase letters starts from 65, it seems. So 65 minus, A, B, C, D, E. 65, 66, 67, 68, 69. 69 minus 65. What is the result? 4. Correct? 4. Already P is having the base address of the array. That is G's address. Say for example, in our example, it is 1000. 1000 plus 4. 1004. ஸோ 1004ல உங்களுக்கு என்ன கேரக்டர் ஸ்டார்ட் ஆகுது? 1000, 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004. Number 2 is starting. Correcta? So since we are using the formatted string percentage yes, we are expecting a string to be printed. So it will be printing from to what all the other string, everything will be printed. So what is the result now?
Option A, ma'am.
Hi, what I said. P plus P of 3 minus P of 1. P of 3 minus P of 1 will result in 4, the value 4. And P is having the base address. Say for example 1000. 1000 plus 4, 1004. So what is the value stored in 1004? 1000 வந்து G, 1001 A, 1002 E, 1004 gate வந்து இது 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay. 1004 is having the value 2. Correct? So as per our 2. But in formatted string, we are asking to print string. Percentage is put a string. So from 2, all other remaining characters will be printed. Up in option.
C, ma'am.
C, ma'am.
2011.
C, ma'am.
2011. Correct? This is the answer. Answer is C. Okay. Okay, hope you have enjoyed the session. I hope I have given whatever the things that need to be refreshed and solved. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for patient listening. Happy learning. Keep learning and keep all these things touched with you, because in the next level, these are all the things required for next level shifting, next migration from student over or higher studies or your placement, whatever it may be. These are all the fundamentals for gate training, gate exams also. These are all the things you have to practice. And we have discussed self-check questions and answers, right? These are all the previous year. gate materials I have referred and given to you. So in the next session, we will discuss next advanced topic in the programming structure using C. Thank you so much.